Hi, precious friends and family. This is Gina with Hope and Cope. This channel has been created to help people that are dealing with difficult life situations. If you are dealing with specifically loved ones, life choices that make your life more difficult, and how we cope with that. But I hope that these tips and advice that I have on this channel will also be able to be applied to any kind of life situation that's difficult. If you just have a difficult time at work, or you've been through a death or a divorce or anything, it doesn't necessarily have to be you have a loved one with an addiction or making life choices that are a challenge for you. So hopefully today's topic will be helpful. So I chose for today the topic of anger. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm mad. I mean like really, really, really bad anger. And I do want to just preface this by saying I don't have a real huge problem with anger. I'm not saying I didn't have a worse problem when I was younger, and I'm not saying I don't still get mad, because I do. I get mad sometimes. But I just want to still talk about some advice that I have for you if you tend to have some anger issues, or if you, the situation that's in your life, maybe you don't feel like you have anger issues, but the situation, the uncontrollable situation in your life brings about a tremendous amount of anger in your life. Different people react differently to different things, right? So some people, a tragic life situation like a loved one that is an alcoholic or drug addict, that would cause a lot of sorrow. But other people, they react with anger. And I think both would overlap with stress, right? We get a lot of stress in those type of situations. But how do you react? Do you tend to react with anger, or do you tend to react with sadness? So I tend to be the person that reacts with sadness. That doesn't make it better, doesn't make it worse. It just is different. But I have still been plenty angry. I've been plenty angry in my life, and done my own share of screaming and ranting and raving. So I just want to say that this is not coming from some kind of high and lofty place of piousness. It's just advice. So just a couple things that make us angry. One thing that makes us angry is having to tell somebody something more than once, right? That can happen to anybody. You don't have to be in an insane life situation to get frustrated over having to tell somebody something more than once. Explain yourself more than once. Get a situation resolved. You think it's settled, but it's really not. It's going to keep coming back up. Those things can make us angry. And that and unfulfilled promises, that can make us angry. You promised me you would pick up the children. You promised me that you would pay that bill. And then that doesn't happen. It can make us very angry. There's probably of things that can really cause us to be angry. So, how do we deal with it? Okay, I've just got a couple suggestions. I'm going to keep this one short because this is not really my area of expertise. But I'm going to say, ask yourself in advance what your expectations are. Like, once you've explained something to somebody and they don't get it, then the more we explain it, the more do we really expect them to get it. So we need to settle in our minds that this is a challenge. This person is struggling to meet these expectations, and I need to be realistic. So part of what makes me angry, right? Let's think about it. Part of what makes me angry is I've put my confidence in a conversation, a promise, a situation with somebody that is unreliable. So if I don't put my confidence in that, then maybe I'm less likely to be angry. If I say, okay, well, so-and-so said that they would pay that bill, but I am going to make a contingency plan and make sure that gets paid because I don't want XYZ to happen, whatever it is. And, maybe that would be very, very, very hard for you. Maybe you're like, well, I promised to pay this one and they promised to pay that one. And so now I don't really have the money to pay both. It might take a lot of modification on your part to make sure that you are covering your bases. Because if you're dealing with an unreliable person, then we are bringing that anxiety and that frustration and that anger on ourselves, because we really know that that person can't be trusted. So just ask yourself in advance, if you feel like that you are expecting something, not expecting too much. I don't think you're expecting too much. But if you're expecting something that's not going to happen, because if you're expecting something that's not going to happen, then in your mind, just try to be prepared for that. Just try to be prepared for that. And, I hate to have the attitude of, well, I kind of knew you would fail me. You don't have to say that. You don't have to say it before or after, but to just be prepared for it. So one of my suggestions is being prepared, being realistic about what can be expected. This is just a completely different kind of scenario, not talking about an adult with an addiction or, some kind of other lifestyle choice that affects us. But, if you send your 5-year-old grandson to the living room to watch cartoons with a bag of popcorn, be prepared for a mess. Just be prepared for a mess. Maybe I have, and maybe I haven't experienced this personally, but I'm not going to get angry about the mess he makes when I let him have popcorn in the living room. And so I'm just trying to give like a lighthearted example of try to head those emotions off at the pass. Try to say, I expected this to happen. I made a plan that this might happen, and I'm not going to let myself get angry over this situation. The next thing I'm going to say is think already about how you're going to respond. Think about what you will and what you will not let yourself do to respond. I do believe this person is likely to let me down. My cat's in my lap. He hears me talking again, and so he's come to check it out. Yeah, you say to yourself, I'm likely to be disappointed. Here is how I plan to react. And whether that is that you're going to continue to work in this situation, you're going to try to explain things again. Maybe you're going to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you a list, or I'm going to make you a note, or I'm going to set a reminder, or, maybe you don't feel like you owe that person any of those things. That is fine. That is all fine. But if you plan to continue to work in the situation that makes you angry, then you need to have an expectation of how you're going to behave. You cannot, well, you can. If you want and you think that's a successful plan and it's going to get you somewhere and it's going to help you succeed in life, then go ahead and continue with the angry, horrendous, explosive behaviors that cause you to say things that you may not mean, or you may wish you still had never said, or makes you behave in ways that you're, causing stress to yourself and to others, that maybe you are causing yourself to be in jeopardy for other things, or for some things. Like, for instance, if this is a coworker situation, you cannot behave like that at work very long before you're going to be the one called into the boss's office. You're going to be the one put on a performance plan. So you're going to have a plan for how you're going to react if things don't go the way you had anticipated, maybe the way both of you agreed that it would go. You said you would pick up the groceries, but you didn't. You said you would put gas in the car, and you didn't. You said you would pay me back, but you didn't. So there's so many things, and we just have to know in advance. If you will just make a little plan in advance of how you're going to behave if things don't go the way you had expected them to go, you probably can avoid a lot of anger, which is going to help you tremendously. I think I've mentioned in this video Serenity, and I need to just do, okay, so I think I'm going to make this one part 1. Did you love that part 1? I'm going to make this part 1 of a 2-part, and so now I'm talking about anger, and then I'm going to come back and talk about Serenity, because once you decide these things in advance of how you're going to react and that you're not going to be shocked. This has happened already for 10 years. Why are you still shocked? Well, honey, why am I still shocked? It's about me. Once that happens, this is a me problem. It's not a that person problem. Yes, Angel, I see you. So, we'll do another one on serenity. How to keep your serenity. Let's see if I can get this. There's your little face. There you are. So we'll do another one on serenity and the things we have to do to grasp serenity. But do me a favor now. Work on trying to not have anger. Work for your own benefit, for your own good health, for your own mental health, for your own sleep, for your own happiness, for your own well-being. Do me a favor and try to not be angry. Say, okay, when I go to work, I know it's always stressful. It is always stressful. And when XYZ happens, this is how I always behave. I'm going to make a plan today that it's going to be different. I'm going to make a plan today that when that happens, when that person doesn't come in or that person doesn't do what they're supposed to do, I'm going to pick a different way. If you need me to help you talk about some strategies, what those other, we've talked about a little bit in this video, but if you need me to talk more about that, what kind of strategies we can come up with, then I can work on something like that. So please, if you like this video, please like it. Hit the thumbs up button, share it with a friend if you think that they would benefit from this topic, like being prepared for worst case scenarios, whether it's that it makes you sad or it makes you angry. If you feel like this would be helpful to them, please share it. And if you haven't already, if you would subscribe, that way when my videos come out, you'll see the new ones. And until next time, I always pray for you, and I love you, and I hope these videos are helping, because I am not doing this for my own fun, and I'm not doing this because I got nothing else to do. I am doing this because I love you, and I want the situations I've been in, I want the things that I've encountered, and the ways I've figured out how to still have a happy, contented, healthy life. I want to help you with that. I want to be able to share that with you. So if this has been helpful to you, that's all that matters to me. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye. Till next time.